Stay mad. Oh boy, oh boy. So this past Sunday was the 2025 Grammys, and y'all, it finally happened. Beyonce has gotten the long-awaited, the well-deserved Album of the Year award for Cowboy Carter. And she also won Best Country Album. Now, I would say there's been, and I would say there's been mostly positive reviews, but also there's been mixed reviews and people saying, oh, so and so should have won over this, or even just in the country category itself, oh, such and such and such, like, oh, it wasn't even a country album for real. And I'm like, this award is bigger than just surface level. And that's something I find with Beyonce's work in general, and why, like, she deserves all the respect. And like the way she approaches her art, like, Beyonce is an artist. She's not just a commercial artist. Like, Beyonce goes beyond commercial and critical acclaim. She impacts culture. And here's the thing. Now, me, I would say my personal favorite Beyonce album is Self-Titled. Like, I was in like high school when that dropped, super into visuals. So the visual album, I was like, ah. So that was it. Like, I think it's well agreed Beyonce should have been one. And people, there's talk like, oh yes, people may think like, oh yes, it should have been those other awards. Like Cowboy, some people say Cowboy Carter's may not be, in their opinion, her best work or whatever, but that's like besides the point. I think even beyond just like, we gotta look beyond just this project, but project itself is important because what other artist is crossing over different genres for real? What other artist could hop from R&B to funk to pop to pop R&B? And this is what I love about Beyonce's work so much, specifically for this trilogy, starting with Renaissance, now Cowboy Carter. Whatever she's stepping into, she studies. She like seeks to pay homage. Like, this is one thing I love about Virgos. Shout out to the Virgos. Like, we seek to do things well, and she studies, she finds references, and she'll bring in people from those worlds to contribute. Like, she's not trying to do this solo dolo. She is seeking to pay homage. And in paying homage, she always connects it to something herself. Like Renaissance, her Uncle Johnny, who had an impact on her life and her growing up. This one, her being a Louisiana, Southern Texan woman, and the whole identity of that. Like, right from the jump in American Requiem, Beyonce talks about how she was seen as two country before. Like, if you watch early Destiny's Child interviews, like, her accent was thick. Like, she was definitely Southern. So it's Beyonce's and her team. It's like Beyonce as an entity, as a platform, as a brand, is able to bring people in, collaborate, and create these beautiful works of art that go beyond just simply commercial appeal. And that is something not everybody can do. So yes, this album of the year, and like what her husband Jay said the year prior, and people were like, oh, they're only giving it to her because he said something. Okay, maybe, and if so, but he made several points. He was like, how is she the most awarded, but still had not gotten the highest award? Like, there's like the big three, big four. Album of the year is the big one. Like, so it's like, how does that make sense? It don't. And Jay made a point with that. So it's like, yeah. I noticed in this ceremony, they made the emphasis say out of 13,000 voting members, like, the Recording Academy is of people working in the music industry, whether they be artists, writers, engineers, executives. These are her peers. These are her peers in the industry who voted for her. So no matter what stands say, people in her direct community, as far as the music industry, voted for her. And like, you could just see by the reactions, by Gaga, even by Billie Eilish, people were assuming, we don't know for real unless Billie says it herself why she was crying, but some people were like, oh, she missed out. But from what I thought it was, people were just like, finally, like, they're seeing this woman who puts so much work into her art be rewarded. Like, Beyonce's patience and tenacity, and not even just for the Grammy, but how she approaches her work, her diligence, her tenacity, her focus, her thoroughness, like, is like is a gem. And I think finally getting this award, her peer voted award, this top honor to acknowledge, yes, Cowboy Carter as the thing that's directly attached to you, but just for her 25 plus year career is well earned and well deserved, you know. And let's talk about the country thing, because people are like, oh, had qualms about, oh, best country album. I went back to listen to Cowboy Carter. Like, I remember the first time I was listening to the album, I was actually in Louisiana for the first time, so being in the South, listening to the album, it was lit. And, you know, I listened to the album all the way through, and then, you know, that was what, almost a year ago. Now it's like, oh, like, you know, I picked my favorites, or I started from a certain place and, like, you know, go back to my favorite song. So I was like, let me listen to this thing all the way through. And let's pull up this track list. People try to say it's not country album. So let's hop into a little genre, in the genre topic. Just like, you know, just from my understanding or just my assumptions about country, because I'll admit I'm not a heavy country fan. But when I think of country, I think of guitar or string instruments, like acoustic. I think of storytelling, descriptive lyrics. That's the things I think about as like qualifiers of country music. And listen, let's see. From track 1, American Requiem, we have Blackbird, 16 Carriages, Protector, My Rose, Smoke Hour. This is the interlude. Texas Hollywood, Bodyguard, Dolly P, Jolene, Daughter, Spaghetti, Alligator Cheers, Smoke. Because I was like, no. all these tracks have those elements. And I will say, okay, let's go back. So track 1, American Requiem. Let's pause at Spaghetti. So this is where we get into the trap and the rap. And literally from the beginning of this track, Beyonce announces, like, she makes the point to say, genres are a little funny concept, aren't they? So this gives you, that just is a literal sign that this is about to be a twist. Like, oh, this is country, but I'm gonna add my flavor and spin to it. So she says that on the track, that kind of takes it in a different direction. But after that, after Spaghetti, she's right back to Alligator Tears, another interlude, Smoke Hour 2, Just for Fun, Two Most Wanted, Levi's Jeans, one of my favorite songs. That's one of my favorite songs. Definitely top 3 for me. Flamenco, Linda Martell, Yaya, A Louisiana Desert. You can't tell. Even with the what? There's 27 tracks on this album and 3 interludes. So, but let's just go with 27 tracks. Like 4, I would say maybe 4 tops out of that 27 is more Beyonce leaning genre. Like, I think at the very beginning when she released this album, she said this is a Beyonce album. Like, yes, it's country, but the genre, what the genre is Beyonce. Okay? Like, so that's the point. Like, whatever world Beyonce taps into in these musical realms, she seeks to do it well, pay homage, be well studied, well executed, and still bring her to it. Like, so mind you, like, I would say maybe 4 songs are maybe not in those hard country qualifiers, but those are when it's the Beyonce doing country, and that's what it is. Like, so my thing is, like, the people who are mad, your faves couldn't do this. And that's the point. And that's not even supposed to be a knock. It's just, let's reward and honor greatness when it walks in the room, when it's right in front. Like, listen, to be alive at the same time as Beyonce, Giselle, Knowles Carter, like, to see this woman dedicate herself to so much to her craft and a quality work that impacts culture, like her, like let's talk about art. Let's talk about art real quick. And I know since like the LimeWire, streaming, the way art is looked at has really changed, and it's been really about, oh, consumerism and consumption, how many streams and top this, rather than seeing art as a way to share perspective or make people question things, or make people discuss, or make people think differently, make people think about how they interact with others, how they see the world. And to me, that's what the original purpose of art was, and it could still be that. But I know in this consumer streaming world, it could get real different. When people are like, oh, this amount of streams in the first week, or this many albums sold, it's like, if you want that to be your barometer of how you value art, okay, but like when we're talking about art that has impact, like, we having a different conversation. Even from announcing this album, like, you learn more, it shines more light on the history of Southern Black people, of Black cowboys, of the history of country music. Like, it makes you learn, it makes you think. Like, what was it? Besides Dolly Parton, I mean, I knew Shabuzi and I knew, so, okay. Like, besides the newer, more contemporary, like the very, very newer artists like Shabuzi, you know, I grew up with Miley Cyrus, hello, Post Malone. Besides those, I knew like Dolly Parton. Everybody else, it was an introduction to. Willie Nelson, who else? Willie Jones, this was my introduction to him. I heard of Tanner Adell because of her Buckle Bunny song online. But all those other beautiful country artists, I did not know about them before this. Beyonce, this project introduced me to these people. And like even beyond the artists, like the people who played the instruments, like there's just so much. And I get people who are surface level, it may be too much, but let's not be dense because you don't get it and you don't seek to go deeper with how this art. If you're gonna be like, it's not country enough because it's like, dog, you gotta go deeper. Like, and even think about her Beyonce Bowl performance when she brought a Black rodeo queen. I don't know if she was the first, but she brought in cowboy, like she brought in cowboys, she brought in rodeo people. There was another couple. They had sashes. I didn't know. I wasn't able to find who they were. But she's making you think. She's making you learn. She's making you grow your mind. And that's true art. Like, ladies and gentlemen, Beyonce is a generational talent, artist, creative, like, so all praise to Beyonce as a entity, as a brand, as a person, for her contributions to art. Like, literally, I was emotional. Me watching it at home, I was emotional watching it because it's like, yes, like, give this woman her flowers because her contributions to art and culture is impeccable and out of this world. So, listen, anybody who got a problem with it could be mad because you cannot take away. You could try all you want to try to discredit, try to whatever, but you cannot take away her impact and the impact of the art that she creates and everybody who has been a part of these projects with her. Boom.